morning. I will be reading 33 minutes, page 158 to 165. 1254. I imagine most fire alarms are intended to make you think, what's that loud noise? I guess there must be a fire nearby. Good thing this alarm is just loud enough to inform me of a fire, but not so loud that I can't think clearly at a dangerous time like this. But the Wagner Middle School fire alarm is not your good old-fashioned bell clanger, no siree. It's a high-pitched, pulsing electronic wail that goes between extremely loud and way louder than extremely loud. During the cruelest section of the alarm's 3.3-part song, which sounds something like ah-wee-wee, I can feel the blood vessels in Tootsie swell even more. Our fire alarm is so loud that all I can think is, must get away from this sound right now. It doesn't help that Miss Z is responsible for our orderly evacuation. While the rest of the class sprints out into the hallway, we're wearing our PE uniforms, ready to run. Miss Z waves her hands around her head like the alarm is a very large and very annoying bug buzzing in her ear, and screams, "Go, go, just go!" Once we get out into the hallway, teachers are yelling things that definitely should not be yelled in a public school, things that wouldn't be allowed in a PG-13 movie. Kids are racing all over the place, running into each other, crashing into walls, banging into lockers. Apparently, everyone has forgotten how to exit the building. Somehow, I soon find myself, without a single one of my classmates in sight, standing out on the blacktop. I'm a bit relieved to be here because of a fire and not in order to have my butt kicked by Morgan. Also, I know there couldn't possibly be a real fire nearby because when have you ever heard of an actual fire at an actual school? We only have these ridiculous drills so that the grown-ups can force us to file out obediently a couple times a year and then lecture us about how our lack of respect could get us killed if this had been a real fire. I get far enough away from the building for the alarm to become just an irritating siren when I see a bunch of Vikings running towards the west end of the building near the faculty parking lot. I follow after them, turn a corner where, oh my God, an actual fire. Okay, it's not really a fire, but there's a broken window with purplish smoke pouring out of it. It's coming from Mr. Rozier's room. The room where Morgan is supposed to be right now. A trio of hysterical fire trucks pull into the parking lot and spits out a bunch of firefighters dressed and ready for action. Above the din of sirens and alarms, I hear a number of teachers attempting to herd us away from the building and onto the sports field. The herding is pretty sloppy since everyone is looking back towards the school. People are bumping into one another, tripping over potholes, tripping over the people who tripped over potholes, tripping over the people who tripped over the people who tripped over the potholes. No one is saying nice things to anyone. I scan the crowd for Morgan and Chris, especially Morgan, but at only 55 inches tall, I can't exactly see over the stumbling crowd of blue and yellow. A loud, glassy pop freezes the crowd momentarily, followed by another, then another. Each pop is answered by a few hundred people shrieking, then a voice through a megaphone. Teachers, you must move your cars. Teachers, move your cars to make way for the fire trucks. Just like that, almost all the adults in our mob disappear, creating a teacher-to-student ratio that is not going to lead to the most successful herding. After all, us students aren't much interested in going where we're supposed to go, since the alternative is standing dangerously close to what is now a big-time fire. I made my way to the edge of the herd and see flames shooting out of the windows of Mr. Rozier's room. Every few seconds, a sharp pop coming from the same direction makes me jump. The firefighters have a hose on the building, but the fire doesn't seem to care. I can't tell if I'm excited or terrified or stunned or what. Maybe I'm actually all three things, because all I do know is that everyone around me looks like a confused zombie who just drank a big gulp of Mountain Dew. The first 3 fire trucks have been joined by another 2, along with a half dozen ambulances and at least 10 police cars. This impressive collection of flashing sirens makes me feel like the carnival has come to town, assuming there's a carnival that also burns down local schools. Not a bad idea now that I think about it. The alarm, still raging, and the pops are suddenly joined by a dull crash. I turn my head quickly to see that 2 faculty cars are doing a convincing imitation of Siamese twins joined at the trunks. Ugh. Mr. Rosier, probably among the least pleased of all the teachers to begin with, jumps out of his car to scream at Miss Z, who was driving the other car. "Micah, are you blind?" He throws his hands over his head for emphasis. "Dan, please!" Miss Z holds out a single hand in an effort to hold him back while she collects herself. "You could have killed me." Now he's pointing at her. "Come on, Dan. I didn't see you." She looks down at the cars. Dan, look, man, I'm real sorry." "Sorry? You're sorry?" But before we get a chance to learn where this friendly dialogue is headed, a 3rd car, not wanting to be left out, decides to join the twins, and the crash of shattering headlights is added to the other soothing sounds already in the air. Mr. Rosier screams out his most enraged, "What?" so far, but Captain Megaphone interrupts everyone. Before the identity of driver number 3, my money is on Mr. Greggs, even though he's supposed to be at the hospital, can be revealed. "Students, move to the sports field, now! I repeat, move to the sports field, now!" Captain Megaphone sounds even less happy than Mr. Rosier. Reluctantly, we do what we're told, hurting ourselves in much the same manner as the adults hurted us before. More tripping, stumbling, falling, and cursing. Somehow, I eventually find myself, along with everyone else, on the Wagner Middle School sports field. Scanning for familiar faces, I finally locate Amy, and I'm about to call her name when I feel a strong push on my back. I turn around. Morgan. He's standing right in front of me, and along with everyone else, I guess, he doesn't look too happy. "I'm totally gonna kick your butt, Sam." I look at Morgan, and for a moment, everything else around me disappears. The crowd, the sirens, the fire, the purple smoke, that angry voice coming through the megaphone, just me and Morgan. And for some weird reason, all I can think is, well, at least now I know if Morgan decided to forgive me after I decided not to blame him for throwing that salad bowl.